What up, you guys? Tony's Figs here with my contribution to Allison and Punk's May Power of the Fourth. It looks like I'm doing Darth Maul and his Sith Speeder. Got it from eBay not too long ago. It was like 15, 16 bucks. So let me show you a little box he came in. I like this. This character's crazy. Ever since I saw him in the movie, he was awesome. Bunch of stuff was dope on that movie. I don't know. I like the original. I like 4, 5, and 6 better. But he was pretty damn cool. He was one of the high points. I always like. Oh my God, who played him? Ray Park. Ray Park played Snake Eyes. He played Darth Maul. He played Toad in X-Men. Pretty dope, dude. So anyway, let's show you the box. Star Wars Episode 1. Sith Speeder and Darth Maul with launching Sith probe droid. Nice. I don't remember that. I remember having this, but I don't know about the probe droid is in the speeder. It's called the oh my God, what's it called? The blood fin. That's called the blood fin. Pretty dope. So here's a box. There you see Maul with the blood fin. Button reveals launcher and fires the probe. Okay, now I remember that. I did have this way back in the day. One vehicle, one figure, one lightsaber accessory, one probe droid projectile. There's this side. Good old Hasbro. Sorry, it's blazing lights are glaring at you. Okay. Here's the back of it. Darth, little picture of him and the Sith Speeder. And the other figures, again, Anakin, Battle Droid, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Queen Amidala, Padme, and Jar Jar, stupid ass. Now, the Naboo fighter, proof of purchase, pretty cool stuff. All right, let's open this and get into it. Okay, open them up. Here we go. Comes with this little booklet, Star Wars Episode 1. Shows you more figures. These are always pretty cool, man, when these came with... I always treasured these. I always kept these somewhere that came with the figures. If you've got any other, pamphlets and stuff that showed you what's coming out, what is out, and all that stuff. These things were always cool as shit to me. I always liked saving them. I liked all the photographs they guys took. Pretty damn cool stuff. There's that. Get rid of that. Always comes with Star Wars Episode 1. It's just his little assembly guide to put this little blood fin together. It's pretty cool. I'll show you how right now. There's his little probe. Shoots out. Hope I don't lose it while I freaking open it. And let's see. As I remember, this thing goes in here. There you go. I'm going to shoot it out and just hit my computer. Okay, it doesn't come out. Ah! Oh, shit. I did it in 2 stupid motions. Hold on. Let me try it again. Ah! Okay, I'm having too much fun. I'm sorry. Let me put this away. There's this little stupid probe. There's the blood fin. Dope as hell. Love all the paintwork they did. They faded it. It looks dirty, looks used, looks pretty badass. The only thing that's different that he didn't use in the movie, he didn't put the lightsaber in that hole. He just had it on him. So it's pretty cool. Here's Darth Maul. Badass little fig. I mean, I always tuck the hood in and have it kind of like that instead of undoing it, because that would look pretty stupid. But it's kind of hard. This is just, oh, it looks like that rubber band just disintegrated. Look at that. So just a little cleanup. Do that off screen. And I can never hold it. No, I'm just kidding. All that gunk from 1997, 98, or whatever the hell. Look at that. And it was bent. I had to unbend that shit. Or straighten it out, unbend it. I'm looking at him and all I hear is when he fights him. God dang, this is hard. Okay. There we go. Get your stupid hood out of your face, fool. All that mucus looking disintegrated thing. There he goes. At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. Something like that, right? Cool stuff, man. Darth Maul. All right, let me get him seated on his blood fin. That's what this thing is called. Pretty dope name for Darth Maul's craft. Tiny little dude. Sit him on this bad boy. I mean, all the way peg action. Look at that. Just peg in his feet. Can assume the controls of the blood fin. Okay. He's on his little bike. Let's put his hands on the controls. Handlebar action. He's cruising Tatooine. Looking for two punk-ass Jedi to whoop ass on. So let's see. We all know how that turned out. Bit off a little bit more than you can chew, bro. There's your long, crazy sleeves. This one's a little harder to put on because I don't know if it's bent, but you still got that nasty disintegration of what you call it on it. Anyway, there's Darth Maul, his little speeder. You ready? Shroom. And then if you want, you put his lightsaber goes in here. And it's always ignited. He's cruising through it with this. That looks kind of killer. Then he can just go by your ass and just chop up freaking bushes and trees and Jedi as he wants. But it was never like that. It was always like this, which was tight. Anyway, let's put him here. Let's get rid of this stuff. There's his lightsaber. There's a little Sith Speeder, the blood fin, we'll call it. That's what they call it. And there he is. Okay. That's all it comes. This toy was badass. Back then I didn't really collect too much Star Wars, but I got ones that I really liked. Like I got him. I think I got Kenobi and some other ones. But I'll go ahead and read up some biography on Darth Maul because he was a badass character for the little time he had in episode 1. So here we go. Looks like he was born the son of Mother Talzin of Dathomir. He's a Dathomirian Zabrak male. He was a Night Brother and had two blood brothers, Feral and Savage Opress. Later in his life, Maul claimed that he once had a real name, but that he had long since forgotten it. Since his first birthday, Talzin, his mom, or Talzin, whatever you want, gave the Zabrak infants their first tattoos. So I guess he was all red. I'm not sure if he was red and just the black was the tattoo or whatever, because there's other Zabraks who are from some other place that are light complected. It's weird. So as a child, since his days living in deep caves, he wrestled with a deep inner anger. You'll see how that comes into play. According to legend, he grew up with one of his brothers in a house in the Night Brother village, often needing to take care of his younger, weaker brother due to Talzin always being away with the Night Sisters. They're like it's like arcane witches and stuff. Did Night Sister magics. Growing up, he always felt a connection to nature and the forest outside their house, a byproduct of his Force sensitivity. While he was still a child, Mother Talzin became an ally of Darth Sidious, the Dark Lord of the Sith. That bastard. The two beings exchanging knowledge of dark side, arcana, and Night Sister magics from Talzin. Legend had it that when Sidious visited Talzin, Maul always hid in his room, afraid of the man and worried about Talzin's increasing bond with him. So when he was taken in by Darth Sidious, his struggle with anger caught the attention of Sidious, and then Sidious would take Maul away from Dathomir to become his apprentice. According to Talzin, Sidious betrayed her and stole Maul away. He was supposed to take her, In more into detail, Sidious ordered Talzin to give up Maul to a keeper, threatening to not follow through on his promise to make her his apprentice. So it's kind of blackmailing her. I'll make you my apprentice, but you gotta give Maul to a keeper, knowing he was gonna. He was a scheming son of a bitch, Sidious. You know what? She reluctantly agreed, and Maul ran to the forest, angry, overhearing the conversation from behind his door. When he returned the next morning, a night brother took him and threw him in a pit, not allowing him to say goodbye to his own mom. Over the course of months, he was put through relentless domestic abuse, all orchestrated by Sidious as a test. He was grooming, for lack of a better term, a Sith apprentice. He had to build up his hate, his anger, because that feeds into the dark side of the Force, so I get it. He lived with his night brother keeper's 2 sons, who beat him to the point of being unable to stand up every few days and kept starved by only being given the scraps his brothers didn't eat. That's some hard shit. This eventually started to warp his perceptions, and his love for his mother turned into resentment and hatred for abandoning him. Just as Sidious wished, his hatred started manifesting through the dark side. That's how he kind of made him a better apprentice and more apt to be side by side with him as his apprentice. He would practice using the dark side of the Force every chance he got. Eventually, 2 brothers stopped beating him after seeing that their provocations were no longer affecting him. Eventually, rumors swirled of a man soon arriving for the selection to acquire a warrior apprentice, and all the Night Brother boys prepared for it. When the day arrived, his keeper refused to allow him to participate, but he used the dark side to break his locked door down and follow anyway. At the selection arena, he found out that the visitor was Sidious. In a sudden burst of anger, he used the dark side of the Force to force choke the 2 brothers, and then the keeper, all in front of Sidious and Talzin, his mother. Beyond pleased at Maul's progress and potential, Sidious declared Maul the winner and his new apprentice. To Talzin's dismay, Sidious took Maul and left Dathomir, Talzin swearing to get her stolen son back and have her revenge on Sidious. Now, who knows what happened with that, but that is crazy. I never knew that. So then Sidious started training him as a Sith apprentice, Sith warrior, and Sith assassin. I want to see those freaking stories, and I bet you they do have them somewhere at a comic store. I don't know. But he was given the title of Darth, and being called Darth Maul, was trained to become a weapon of the Sith. He became an acrobatic warrior, as we all seen Ray Park kick ass. One trained to be relentless against his enemies and learned to use a dual-bladed lightsaber, eventually crafting his own, using plans given to him by his master. The plans had been hidden by Sidious in a forgotten entrance on the ancient Sith archives. For his lightsaber, Maul used pieces that he had stolen or otherwise acquired, as he noted to himself while sitting in darkness in a time before the Chamel Sector Summit, a large amount of pain and blood that had gone into the construction of his weapon. However, the majority of the blood that had been spilt in the creation of the weapon was not his. During lightsaber training, Maul trained with Marksman H training remotes. He also learned martial arts through droid training. During his training, Sidious took Maul to Malachor to bear witness to a great battle that occurred there between the Jedi and the Sith. Maul mastered his anger, letting it burn in him, and under his master's supervision, began to turn his anger into hate. Sidious forced Maul to breathe in the ashes of Sith warriors slain when an ancient weapon was activated in the Sith temple on the planet. While breathing in this ash, Maul had visions of members of the Sith Order being struck down by the Jedi. He felt a slash of saber after saber as he felt the death of his Sith brethren. His Sith training made Maul long for revenge against the Jedi Order. This is where he's talking about revenge, which had defeated the Sith a millennium earlier. With his master, Darth Maul hoped to destroy the Jedi and restore the Sith to galactic power. He was all in. But his hatred of the Jedi was more personal. He was filled with anger when he realized that as a child, the Jedi had not come for him. Maul did not know if they found him unworthy or simply ignored him, and their neglect fueled his rage. Counting the days until he would have his revenge, he was impatient with his master's planning, resenting the pain and suffering he felt as he waited for his time to unleash himself on the galaxy that had hurt him so much. There's a lot of pain and anguish and hate put into Darth Maul. At some point during his apprenticeship, he traveled to the planet Umbara under the orders of Sidious and kidnapped the world's Senator Sly Moore, though she was eventually freed. So, some years into his training as Sidious's apprentice, he began to become impatient. He wanted to fight the Jedi. He began stalking some. He waited for orders for Sidious. Beforehand, he hired a group of big game hunters to scare Rathor out of hiding as he watched from behind a tree. He quieted his mind, used the Force. This just goes into stuff he was going through to actually come into contact with the Jedi. So he kept becoming a badass, So then we'll go ahead and move through that into where, we see him in episode 1. So, after years of looking for revenge against the Jedi, Maul became part of his master's plan to take over the Galactic Republic and destroy the Jedi. Sidious, who was secretly Senator Palpatine of Naboo, conspired with the Trade Federation to invade his planet as retaliation for the taxation of trade routes and outlying Republic star systems. All the politics take over. So, let's see, Supreme Chancellor of Valorum, whom Palpatine aimed to replace through the invasion, Valorum dispatched Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan to resolve the situation. Federation attempted to kill the two Jedi, forcing Jin and Kenobi to the surface. Once there, as the invasion began, they rescued Queen Amidala and escaped from Naboo, as you saw in the movie. Because she was necessary for their plans, the Queen needed to sign a treaty that would legitimize the illegal occupation of Naboo. Sidious dispatched Maul to find the Queen and the Jedi. So he traced a distress call from Sio Bibble, the governor of Naboo, which Queen Amidala received on Tatooine, with his master's permission. Maul traveled to Tatooine to locate the Queen. He landed in the desert with his personal starship, establishing it as a mobile base for his operation. From his starship, he launched those Sith probe droids to seek out the Queen and the Jedi. Thanks to one of them, he discovered her ship just as it was preparing to leave. Maul rode across the Tatooine sand dunes on his Bloodfin, his personal vehicle of choice, towards the Queen's ship. However, he encountered Qui-Gon, one of the Jedi Knights, who was trying to protect the Queen, and a young boy named Anakin. Nevertheless, Sith Lord attacked Qui-Gon Jinn, and the two engaged in lightsaber combat. The Jedi commanded that Anakin board the ship and tell the pilot to take off. It was a short but intense duel, Maul using his terrifying agility and ferocity to tire Jin out with his vicious lightsaber technique, just as Jin had succumbed to Maul's power. They say this, but they were going at it, but I didn't think Maul had a huge advantage. They were both going at it. And to me, Qui-Gon made the most of it, said, okay, I'm out of here. Anakin's aboard. They're taking off. I don't need to fight this guy no more. I just wasted his time. I held him up. Boom. Just as Jin has succumbed to his power, they say, and Maul was looking at finishing him off. I don't know whoever wrote this. It's like, they had him like, he had him by the throat. The Queen's ship came to the rescue and Jin jumped aboard, leaving the Sith Lord fuming with rage in the sand. And although Jin and the Queen escaped, the Sith had revealed themselves to the Jedi for the first time in a millennium. And the Jedi Order wondered how the Sith could have returned after so many centuries. Despite his target's escape, Maul embraced that he had achieved what he had achieved and let himself become more consumed with darkness and hatred. What Maul did not know was that Skywalker, the little boy who was destined to be the chosen one, would one day all but destroy the Jedi and become a Sith Lord himself. Ain't that some shit? So anyway, to the battle. Okay, when the battle for the capital reached the royal palace, Maul was waiting for Jin and Kenobi. The Sith Lord fought the Jedi in the palace hangar. That's a scene we all love. Before moving into a generator complex, the duel raged on throughout the generator rooms, with Maul dominating the duel. He did, however, give ground in order to lead the Jedi throughout the complex. Maul separated the Jedi by knocking Kenobi down several levels, and Kenobi was unable to catch up to Maul and Jin due to laser walls standing in his way. Taking advantage of the separation, Maul fought Jin alone and eventually stabbed the Jedi Master through the torso, mortally wounding him. This pissed you-know-who off. When Kenobi finally caught up, the two engaged in a ferocious fight, with Kenobi filled with anger and grief over the death of his master and friend. Although Kenobi chopped Maul's double-bladed lightsaber in half, leaving the Sith Lord with only one blade, Maul disarmed Kenobi and force-pushed him over the edge of the vast reactor shaft. Caught off guard, Kenobi dropped his lightsaber and found himself dangling over the abyss from a small input nozzle. Maul kicked his lightsaber over the edge. He taunted him, trying to dislodge him. Kenobi calmed down, used the Force to jump back up, got Jin's lightsaber, and sliced Maul in half. Anyway, that was the end of Maul as we knew it. As we know in, I don't know if it's in canon or Legends. I think it's canon that, he survived and, it was a combination of his Night Sister magics, Dathomirian physiology, and his Sith tenacity to keep him tethered. His body was dumped in the junkyard world, and he lived on scraps, and he made himself legs like a spider. It was crazy. But anyways, there's my little review of this badass little cool figure, Darth Maul, Power of the Force, Star Wars Episode 1. This Darth Maul. This is Bloodfin. I forgot what his main ship was called. It had it in here. But it was pretty cool too. I'm not sure what it was called, but they had cool names, man. All these the Sith Lords are pretty crazy, but I think we only got to see a little bit of the badassery that was Darth Maul, played by Ray Park. So anyways, that's my review. This thing is cool. It is what it is. Little gimmick. That thing went freaking far. I'm glad to own it again. I told Larry I told Punk that I had owned it a long time ago. And for this purpose of, power of the Force. May the power of the Force. That I would do one of these videos. And this thing is cool just to have again. Darth Maul and his speeder. I didn't know it was called Bloodfin. But that's cool. Anyways, thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for listening to me read you a little bit of the past, the history, and cool shit regarding Darth Maul. See you guys in the next one. May the Force be with you. You guys are awesome. Stay tuned for the next one. Peace out.